He paid $8 for an old hangar. The warship inside, but what was guarding it was far more terrifying. The wind carried tiny grains of sand that bit at his skin, but he barely noticed. He was staring at the small holoscreen in his hand, his eyes fixed on one number, $8. $8 for an old hangar on the edge of nowhere. At first, he had laughed. A hangar on Mars. For $8, most people would think it was a scam, but Jax knew better. He had spent years scavenging, trading, and scraping by. He knew that sometimes the smallest prices hid the biggest treasures. The listing had been sparse. Just a few images of rusted metal walls, broken machinery, and a corner of shadowed space that could have held anything. The auction didn't give any details about what was inside. It didn't have to. Jax had a gut feeling, and gut feelings rarely lied. With a shrug, he tapped the Buy Now button. $8 vanished from his account, and the hangar became his. The next day, Jax arrived at the location. The hangar looked even smaller in person than it had online, a boxy structure of metal and concrete that had clearly been abandoned for decades. Rust streaked the walls, and half of the doors hung on bent hinges. The Martian wind whistled through the gaps, making the old metal moan like a wounded beast. "Perfect," Jax muttered, climbing over a pile of broken crates. He loved this part, the thrill of discovery. Most people walked past things like this, seeing only decay. Jax saw possibility. He pushed the creaking doors open. Inside, the hangar smelled of dust, oil, and long-forgotten machinery. Sunlight streamed through holes in the roof, cutting across the darkness in sharp beams. At first, it seemed empty. Broken chairs, old crates, and a few rusted tools were all that greeted him. Jax's heart sank for a moment. Then he saw it. In the far corner, shrouded in shadows, a shape gleamed faintly under the broken roof panels. At first, he thought it was just more debris. But as his eyes adjusted, he realized it was a ship. Not like anything he had seen before, sleek, massive, alien. Its surface shimmered faintly, like it was painted in a color that didn't exist in any human catalog. Jax's mouth went dry. He approached slowly, each step echoing in the empty hangar. The ship's hull stretched high, taller than a building he had seen on Mars City. Its edges were sharp, almost predatory. Panels along the sides hinted at weapons systems, but they were sealed tight, dormant. The cockpit glimmered with an eerie light, almost as if the ship was watching him. This is worth a fortune," Jax whispered. He ran a hand along the smooth hull, half expecting it to hum, to move, to do something, but it remained still. For the next hour, Jax circled the ship, marveling at every detail. He imagined what it could do: speed, weapons, unknown technology. If he could figure out how to get it operational, it could change everything. He could finally leave the scavenger life behind. Maybe even make a name for himself. But then came the sound. At first it was soft, almost imperceptible. A shuffle, a scrape of metal. Jax froze. His eyes darted toward the shadows near the rafters. The hangar was huge, but the sound seemed to come from above, somewhere in the darkness. "Hello?" he called, his voice a little louder than he intended. Nothing. Only the wind whistling through the gaps. Jax shook his head. He told himself he was imagining it. After all, he had been alone here, right? Then the sound came again, closer this time. A low growl like metal scraping against metal, followed by a wet, gurgling hiss. Jax's stomach tightened. Slowly, carefully, he reached for the nearest tool, a rusted wrench, and held it in front of him like a sword. He crept toward the corner of the hangar, toward the sound. What he saw made him freeze. A pair of glowing eyes, low to the ground, watched him from the shadows. Not human eyes, not even animal eyes. They were wrong. Multiple pupils, shifting colors, a faint, sickly glow that seemed to pierce straight through him. Jax swallowed hard. He had faced dangerous scavenging trips before. He had been in fights with other humans, with wild Martian creatures, even automated security drones gone rogue. But this was different. The eyes moved closer. A body emerged from the shadows, a twisted combination of metal and flesh, tall and lean, covered in plates that seemed part organic, part machine. Its limbs ended in claws that clicked against the hangar floor. It had no mouth, but Jax felt a voice in his head, an alien, pulsing thought that wasn't words but feelings. Stay away from the ship. Jax's pulse raced. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to escape the hangar, to forget this ever happened. But something inside him, the same stubborn, reckless spark that had brought him this far, refused to move. He raised his wrench, shaking. I just want to look," he said, his voice trembling. The creature tilted its head, its eyes unblinking, and a strange, echoing vibration filled the hangar. Jax felt it in his chest, a cold warning. Do not touch the ship. But Jax couldn't look away. He inched toward the cockpit. Every step made the creature growl, low, mechanical, terrifying. Its claws scraped the floor. Sparks flew. Jax felt the air thicken around him, as if the hangar itself was alive and warning him. Then, without warning, the lights flickered. One by one, the old lamps overhead blinked and died, plunging the hangar into near darkness. Only the ship's faint glow remained, and the doors slammed shut. The sound made Jax jump. Dust and debris rained down from the ceiling. The wind stopped. The hangar was silent except for the soft, wet breathing of the Guardian. The creature stepped forward, its eyes gleaming, and the air vibrated again with that warning. Leave, now. Jax's heart pounded. He backed up, tripping over a crate. He looked around, desperate for an escape. But the hangar doors were jammed, stuck in the frame. He was trapped. A cold sweat ran down his back. He realized something terrifying. He had not bought just an abandoned hangar. He had bought a prison with a predator inside, and a ship that might be more dangerous than the creature guarding it. He gripped the wrench tighter. He had survived on Mars by being clever, by thinking ahead, by using human ingenuity to overcome impossible odds. He had to figure a way out, but for the first time in his life he felt powerless. The creature's body shifted, limbs clicking against the metal. It moved closer but did not attack. Its eyes locked on him, and Jax felt a strange, electric fear, a knowledge that the creature could kill him in seconds but was holding back. The thought of the warship flashed through Jax's mind. If he could reach it, maybe he could use it. Maybe it could save him. Maybe. He forced himself to breathe. One careful step at a time, he edged toward the ship, keeping his eyes on the Guardian. Every nerve screamed at him to run, but there was no escape. Only the glow of the ship, the pounding of his heart, and the low, ominous presence of whatever had been guarding it for decades. Jax knew one thing for sure. The $8 hangar he had bought was no bargain. It was the beginning of something far bigger and far more terrifying than he could have imagined. And he had no choice but to face it. Jax Havorson's chest heaved as he pressed himself against the cold metal hull of the mysterious ship. His heart thudded loudly in his ears, drowning out the faint hum of the hangar. The glowing eyes of the Guardian reflected off the polished metal of the warship, and for a moment, Jax felt frozen, not by fear alone, but by awe. The creature was enormous, taller than Jax had first realized, with joints that clicked and whirred like old machinery coming to life. Its body was a mix of metal and flesh, with tendons of steel running under translucent skin, glowing faintly with a sickly green light. The claws that scraped against the hangar floor were razor-sharp. Every movement radiated precision and intelligence, and yet it did not attack. Jax realized something strange. The Guardian wasn't just a mindless predator, it was watching him, calculating his every move. The hum in his head pulsed again. Do not touch the ship. He swallowed hard, but I have to, he thought. I can't leave it here. I can't leave it to die, or worse, to be discovered by someone who won't survive it. He edged closer, each step deliberate. Dust shifted under his boots. The glow from the warship reflected off his face, making his skin look pale and ghost-like. The Guardian moved in response, not forward, not backward, but it shifted, adjusting its stance. It seemed to know what he intended. Jax stopped and crouched low, thinking fast. The creature clearly reacted to motion and intent. Humans, he realized, might have a small advantage here, unpredictability. No algorithm, no programming could match the chaotic way human minds leap from idea to idea. He took a deep breath and decided to test it. Slowly, he waved a hand near the floor, drawing the Guardian's attention. It reacted instantly, limbs tensing. Sparks flickered across its metallic tendons as it adjusted its stance, ready to strike, but it did not. "Okay," Jax whispered to himself. "You can watch me." But I'm not stopping. Using pieces of broken crates and some scrap metal, he set small distractions in the hangar. He tossed a chunk of metal toward the opposite wall. The Guardian's head snapped toward the sound. He did it again, twice more, careful not to overdo it. Each time the creature reacted with precision, but not with aggression. Jax's mind raced. It's testing me, watching me, maybe even learning me. He moved closer to the warship, crawling behind shadows, staying just out of reach. The air was thick with tension. One wrong move and the Guardian could end him in seconds. Then he saw it, a small panel near the ship's hull that seemed slightly ajar. A control hatch perhaps meant for maintenance. His eyes lit up. If he could open it, maybe he could access the ship's systems without confronting the Guardian directly. Jax crouched near the panel, his hands shaking slightly. The creature's eyes followed every movement. He worked quickly, prying the hatch open with his wrench. Sparks flew and a low vibration ran through the hangar. The Guardian stiffened. Suddenly it moved. Fast, too fast. Jax barely had time to roll to the side as the Guardian's claw slammed into the metal where he had just been. The force sent vibrations through the hangar. Dust fell from the ceiling. Jax's stomach churned. He was inside the danger zone now, and the Guardian knew it. He scrambled to his feet. Think, he glanced around the hangar. Broken crates, old cables, metal scraps, enough for a trap or at least a diversion. He grabbed a long, hollow pipe and shoved it across the floor toward the creature's legs. It froze for a split second, and that was enough. Jax darted toward the warship again, ignoring the low growl that vibrated through the hangar. He reached the cockpit. Panels of alien design glimmered under his hands. He had no idea how they worked, but humans had one skill machines couldn't replicate: intuition. He pressed and twisted buttons at random, careful to avoid obvious triggers like weapons systems. To his shock, the cockpit lights flickered on. A soft, holographic interface appeared, displaying strange symbols and alien text. The warship seemed alive, and it was listening. Jax pressed deeper, exploring the controls with the careful curiosity of a scavenger. Slowly, he realized the ship wasn't rejecting him. It responded to his touch, almost as if it recognized the human mind could guide it in ways the Guardian could not. A flicker of hope surged through him. Maybe he could get the ship to move. Maybe he could escape this hangar alive. But then came the warning. The Guardian stepped fully into the light. Its body gleamed, the mix of metal and organic tissue pulsing with energy. It spoke, not with words, but with a psychic push that slammed into Jax's mind. "You are not ready, leave now." Jax's knees buckled under the force. Pain, cold, and fear collided in his chest, but he refused to back down. I have to," he whispered aloud, mostly to himself. "I can do this. I can figure this out." The creature tilted its head. Its glowing eyes narrowed. For a moment, the hangar felt like it held its breath. Then slowly the Guardian moved again, this time circling him, testing him like a predator circles its prey. Jax had an idea. He remembered old scavenging lessons: observe the pattern, find the gap. The Guardian was fast, precise, but it was predictable. Every few steps it paused, scanning, analyzing, but never quite attacking unless provoked directly. He waited, timing each move. He took 2 careful steps forward, ducking behind a crate for cover. The Guardian snapped its head toward him, claws scraping, sparks flying. Jax froze. Then he tossed another piece of metal far to the side. The Guardian lunged not at him, but at the noise. He ran, full speed, toward the ship. The cockpit panel was open, waiting. His hand found the controls, and this time the ship hummed with power. Lights danced across the hull, alien scripts glowing in response to his touch. The Guardian's eyes widened. Jax realized it had not expected him to reach the controls. He pressed a button at random. A low rumble shook the hangar. Small panels on the warship slid open, revealing hidden weapon systems, nothing aggressive yet, just lights and mechanisms coming online. Jax's pulse quickened. He was doing it. He was activating the ship. The Guardian growled. Deep, loud, a sound that reverberated through metal and bone alike. Sparks flew from the floor as it charged, but Jax had one last trick. He pressed a panel that released a burst of compressed air, sending the Guardian staggering backward. For a few tense seconds, Jax had control. He leaned over the controls, trying to understand the alien system. Symbols shifted under his hands, reacting to thought more than touch. The ship was alive, and somehow it trusted him. Then the ceiling trembled. The hangar groaned. Ancient machinery reacted to the warship powering up. Dust and debris fell around him. Jax realized that the hangar itself was a trap. A failsafe designed to destroy anyone who tried to awaken the ship unprepared. The Guardian roared, claws slashing the air, sparks flying. It lunged faster than Jax could move. He barely dodged, diving into the cockpit. The doors began to close automatically, sealing him inside. The warship powered fully, engines humming, weapons systems coming online. Jax's fingers flew over the controls. He didn't fully understand them, but he knew instinctively which buttons to press, which levers to pull. The warship rumbled, vibrating under his hands, responding to human intuition more than alien programming. The Guardian pounded against the cockpit doors, sparks and metal shrapnel flying, but Jax pressed harder. He could feel the ship reacting to his will, understanding his intent. Then, the final shock. The cockpit screen displayed a map, a holographic projection of Mars, the hangar, and distant red dots approaching from the horizon. The warship had detected something, a fleet, small but fast, coming toward the hangar. The Guardian froze for a moment, its psychic presence in his mind more intense than ever. They are coming. You cannot survive them alone. Jack swallowed hard. Sweat dripped into his eyes. He looked at the glowing alien controls, then at the Guardian outside. He knew he had a choice: try to reason with the creature or use the warship and fight. The creature's eyes locked on his. It spoke one final thought: humans are dangerous. Jack smiled despite the fear. That was the truth. Humans were always dangerous when cornered. And he was ready to prove it. Jax Havorson's hands shook as he gripped the alien controls. The cockpit hummed beneath his fingers, alive with energy, responsive in ways he had never imagined. Panels lit up, alien symbols spinning and shifting as if the warship itself were testing him. The hum grew louder, a deep vibration that resonated through his chest. He stole a glance at the hangar's ceiling. Dust fell like snow, and the walls groaned under the weight of centuries. Outside, the Guardian circled, claws clicking against the metal floor, eyes glowing brighter. It hadn't attacked yet, but Jax knew it was only a matter of time. He had no choice. The warship had to move. "All right," he whispered to himself. "Let's see what you can do." He pressed a few buttons almost at random, twisting levers and toggling switches. The cockpit rumbled, and a low roar echoed through the hangar. Lights along the ship's hull flickered and then blazed to life. Panels along the wings extended, revealing strange weapons arrays. The air shimmered with energy. The Guardian stopped moving for a moment, tilting its head. Its glowing eyes seemed to study him. Then it lunged. Jack slammed his palms against the controls. The ship's engines roared in response. With a tremendous surge, the warship lifted a few inches off the hangar floor. Sparks flew as the engines strained, and the Guardian leapt, claws extended, but the ship moved faster than it had expected. He wasn't just piloting it. He was merging with it, controlling the alien technology with human instinct. The Guardian pounded on the hull with every claw, creating sparks and dents, but Jax ignored it, focusing on the controls. The ship's thrusters pushed harder. With a sudden jolt, it tore through the hangar ceiling. Dust, metal, and debris rained down. The open sky revealed Mars in all its red glory, the vast desert stretching to the horizon. The Guardian screeched, leaping after the ship, but its claws couldn't reach him anymore. Jax laughed, heart pounding, not from joy but from the adrenaline coursing through him. He had escaped the first trap. Then he saw them, red blips on the cockpit display approaching fast. Drones, small, sleek alien attack craft. They weren't huge, but there were dozens of them, swarming in formation, closing in on the hangar. Jax felt a cold thrill. The ship was powerful, yes, but could he handle a whole fleet? The Guardian's psychic warning hit his mind. They are coming. You cannot survive them alone. Jax's grin widened. Humans thrived when cornered. Humans thrived when the odds were impossible. "Good," he muttered. "Then let's show them what we're made of." He twisted a lever and the warship surged forward. The alien engines responded like a living thing, propelling him into the open air. The first drone reached the hangar. Jax raised a control and the warship's weapons opened. Pulses of energy shot out, vaporizing the drone before it could fire. Sparks exploded into the sky as debris rained down. The other drones split in response, attacking from multiple angles. Jax's hands flew over the controls. Instinct guided him. He twisted, dodged, fired, and the warship obeyed perfectly. For a moment, time slowed. He realized humans had an edge no AI could predict: creativity, unpredictability, improvisation. While the alien drones moved in straight patterns, the warship danced around them in erratic, chaotic arcs that no program could calculate. The Guardian followed, hovering above the hangar, its glowing eyes never leaving him. It was studying, learning. Perhaps it had tested hundreds of pilots before, but none had moved like this. None had used instinct to complement technology. Jax realized that if he could outthink even this Guardian, he could survive the drones. He slammed a button, releasing a burst of magnetic energy. Several drones' hulls froze in midair, their systems short-circuited. Others tried to adjust, but the warship twisted unpredictably, dodging their counterattacks. A thrill surged through him. This was more than survival. This was humanity proving it could adapt to anything, even alien warships and perfect Guardians. The drones began firing plasma beams. Sparks and flashes illuminated the Martian sky. Jax twisted the controls and dived between two massive cliffs, narrowly avoiding a beam that would have torn the warship apart. One drone got too close. He yanked a lever and a targeting system locked on. The warship fired. The drone disintegrated in a flash of energy. "Come on, you pieces of scrap," he yelled. The exhilaration was addictive. Fear had fueled him before, but now it was pure focus, sharp as a blade. The Guardian swooped in closer. Its claws scraped against the warship's hull, testing its strength. Jax felt a shiver run through him, but also something else, respect. He realized the creature had been built to judge humans, to test them. And somehow he had passed the first stage. Another wave of drones approached from the horizon. This time they were smarter, moving in tighter formation. Jax frowned. He needed a trick, something unexpected. He remembered the hangar. The dust, the broken metal, the debris he had used before. Humans saw the environment in a way machines could not. He yanked another lever, and the warship emitted a pulse, a vibration that lifted chunks of Martian rock from the ground below. The rocks spun into the air like deadly meteors, smashing into the drones. Several exploded in bright flashes. The drones faltered. They had not expected terrain as a weapon. Jax laughed aloud, feeling the thrill of human ingenuity in full force. The Guardian hovered above, watching silently. Its psychic presence pressed against his mind again. Impressive, dangerous. Jax ignored the comment. There was no time to think about the Guardian. The fleet was still incoming, dozens of drones in rapid approach. He twisted and spun the warship, each movement calculated to maximize damage while conserving energy. The alien ship responded perfectly, pulsing with power as though it could sense his intent. Humans weren't supposed to be able to pilot this ship. Machines weren't supposed to respond to instinct, but here he was. One by one drones fell, sparks flew, metal bent, and energy beams scorched the Martian air. Jax's grin widened. He was in command. The warship had accepted him. Then came the shock. From the horizon, a massive shadow appeared. Something bigger than the drones, larger than anything Jax had ever seen. An alien cruiser, sleek and menacing, its surface glimmering with energy shields. Its weapons bristled, ready to strike. Jax's heart skipped. This was no longer a simple skirmish. This was war. The Guardian's psychic voice hit him with intensity. The final test begins. Jax didn't flinch. Humans had survived impossible odds before. Humans had fought wars with nothing and emerged victorious. This was just another impossible situation, and humans thrived in impossible situations. "Bring it on," he muttered, slamming controls and diving toward the alien cruiser. The warship obeyed perfectly. It twisted, spun, fired energy pulses that tore through the Martian sky. The drones that remained scattered, trying to regroup. Jax focused, letting instinct guide him. Every move was precise, chaotic, unpredictable. The Guardian followed, hovering like a shadow above him, watching, learning. Jax realized then that it wasn't just testing him. It was training him, forcing him to become a pilot capable of surviving an alien threat no human had ever faced. Energy beams lit up the Martian desert. The alien cruiser fired, but the warship dodged with impossible agility, spinning and weaving like a predator itself. Jax's mind worked faster than ever, anticipating angles, predicting movements, improvising maneuvers no AI could calculate. The fight was brutal, exhausting, but exhilarating. He felt alive in a way he never had before. This was why humans survived. This was why humans thrived. Against machines, against alien technology, against forces beyond comprehension, they adapted, improvised, and won. Finally, with one clever maneuver, Jax forced the cruiser off balance, striking a weak point with a precise energy blast. The alien ship reeled, sparks and flames erupting from its hull. He had done it. The Guardian hovered closer, eyes glowing intensely. Its psychic presence pressed on Jax, not with threat this time, but with acknowledgement. "You are more than I expected." Jax breathed heavily, adrenaline pumping. He had survived. He had fought. And he had won, not through superior strength, but through instinct, creativity, and human ingenuity. The Martian sky burned red with the aftermath of the battle, dust and energy swirling around him. The hangar, the Guardian, the warship, they were all part of a larger story, a test, a trial, and Jax had passed. But he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was bigger, stranger, and more dangerous than he could have imagined. And somewhere out there, forces far greater than a single guardian or fleet were watching, waiting. Jax smiled grimly. Humans thrived in impossible situations. And he was just getting started. Jax Halvorson floated in the cockpit of the alien warship, his hands steady despite the rush of adrenaline coursing through his veins. The Martian sky stretched around him, dust swirling in red storms below, and the wreckage of the alien fleet glimmered in the distance. He had survived the initial attack, destroyed the drones, and forced the alien cruiser to retreat. But he knew this was far from over. Above him, the Guardian hovered, its metallic limbs reflecting the sun's dying light. Its glowing eyes studied him, no longer hostile but measuring. "You are more than I expected," the psychic voice had said. Jax had passed the first stage, but now came the true test. The Guardian spoke again, not with words, but in psychic pulses that rattled Jax's mind. "The warship is yours. Control it fully or perish." Jax's pulse quickened. He had already felt the connection with the ship, but fully controlling it would mean mastering technology that no human had ever touched. It would mean thinking like the ship thought, reacting faster than instinct, predicting outcomes the way a machine could, but with human creativity layered on top. He nodded to himself. "All right," he whispered. "Let's do this." He began to test the ship's systems systematically. Panels lit up under his touch, revealing weapon arrays, shields, propulsion systems, and navigational controls. The alien interface was unlike any human design, but Jax had learned that when technology is advanced, simplicity of intent can bridge the gap. He focused not on the symbols, but on what he wanted the ship to do. Move forward, dodge left, fire, shield. Each command felt like a thought, not a button press, and slowly the warship obeyed perfectly. The Guardian circled closer, psychic presence intense. Impressive. "But can you survive the galaxy?" Jax clenched his fists. "Let's find out." From the distance, the sky darkened further. More red dots appeared on the cockpit display, alien warships larger than any he had faced. A fleet moving with purpose, closing fast. They were not drones. These were fully crewed vessels with advanced weapons and shields trained to eliminate threats. Jax's heart raced. He realized he could flee, but that would be running. And humans didn't survive by running. Humans survived by thinking, adapting, and striking back. He twisted the controls. The warship pulsed in response, alive beneath his fingers. He angled it to face the incoming fleet, letting instinct guide him. Every move counted. Every second mattered. The first wave of enemy ships fired. Pulses of energy streaked through the sky, striking Martian dust and rock. The warship responded, shields flaring. Jax twisted, spun, and fired, each shot guided by intuition. Drones tried to flank him, but the warship moved unpredictably, dodging every attack. "Come on," Jax muttered. "Let's show them what humans can do." The fleet faltered. Their formations could not anticipate the chaotic patterns the warship executed. Humans were dangerous because humans were unpredictable. Machines could calculate, predict, and simulate, but they could not improvise with instinct. Jax's mind raced. He realized he could turn the battlefield itself into a weapon. He dove low, skimming Martian cliffs, kicking up clouds of dust and rock. Enemy sensors struggled to track him through the debris. He launched pulses of energy that ricocheted off rocks, striking enemy ships in unexpected places. The Guardian observed from above, wings spread wide, limbs poised. It did not interfere. It had become a silent teacher, allowing Jax to learn to adapt, to push the limits of the warship. Jax smiled grimly. Humans thrived on challenge. Humans thrived on danger. And this was the ultimate challenge. A superior fleet, an alien warship, and the fate of Mars in his hands. The enemy fired again, larger pulses, targeting the warship's engines. Jax twisted, dodged, and released a burst of energy that sent the nearest cruiser spinning off course. He was learning fast, every move a combination of human instinct and alien technology. The battlefield became a dance of destruction. The enemy fleet was relentless, but Jax was faster, smarter, and more adaptable. He used the Martian terrain, the warship's unique systems, and even the debris of destroyed drones as weapons. He realized then that humans did not fight like aliens. Humans fought with creativity, with improvisation, with courage born of desperation. A massive alien cruiser broke through his defenses, aiming directly at him. Jax's heart thumped. Its weapons were huge, far beyond the smaller drones he had fought, but he did not panic. He twisted the warship, angling it toward the sun so the enemy sensors were blinded by glare. He dove behind a cliff, then released a pulse that detonated a chain reaction among nearby drones. The enemy cruiser staggered, its shields flickering. This is it, Jax thought. Time to end it. He pushed the warship to its limits, firing volleys with precision and improvisation. Alien ships exploded in bright flashes, spinning through the red Martian sky. The fleet faltered, unable to anticipate the human pilot's strategy. One by one, the cruisers retreated, leaving only wreckage and smoke in their wake. The battle was over. Jax hovered above the Martian desert, chest heaving, sweat dripping down his face. The warship's engines pulsed softly beneath him, almost as if it were purring. He had survived, he had fought, and he had won. The Guardian landed lightly on a nearby cliff, watching him. Its eyes glowed, and the psychic presence returned, calmer this time. You have survived. You have proven the strength of humanity. Jax exhaled slowly. Thanks, he muttered, unsure if it could hear him in human language, but he knew it understood. The Guardian stepped closer. Its voice, psychic and strange, filled his mind again. The warship is yours. Use it wisely. But the galaxy is larger. There are others waiting. Jax nodded. He had faced the Guardian, faced a fleet, and survived with nothing but his instinct and human ingenuity. But he knew the Guardian was right. The galaxy was bigger than Mars, bigger than this hangar, bigger than anything humans had imagined. And there would be more tests, more challenges, more enemies. For the first time, Jax looked at the warship fully. It was not just a machine. It was a partner, a weapon, a testament to human adaptability. With it, humans could reach beyond Mars, beyond the colonies, beyond anything the alien civilizations expected. The sun sank lower, casting long shadows across the desert. Dust swirled around the wreckage of the enemy fleet. Jax landed the warship near the hangar, careful to avoid the Guardian. The alien's eyes followed him, not with hostility, but with an odd respect. You may survive the galaxy, the psychic voice whispered, fading. But can you thrive? Jax smiled grimly. We'll see about that. As he stepped out of the cockpit, he glanced around the hangar. The $8 he had spent felt like a joke compared to what he now possessed. A warship, alien technology, and the proof that humanity could survive. No, dominate, even in the face of impossible odds. The Guardian approached the ship, running its claws along the hull. It tilted its head, and Jax felt its thoughts brush against his mind again. You are human. You are dangerous. That is why you survive. Jax laughed softly. Dangerous, maybe. But humans had always been dangerous. That danger had built civilizations, fought wars, crossed stars. And now with this ship he could take humanity further than anyone had ever dreamed. A sudden signal pinged on the cockpit. A transmission, alien in design, pulsating with light and sound. Jax hesitated, then opened it. The message was simple, clear, and chilling. You were expected, but are you ready? Jax's grin widened. The galaxy had bigger trials ahead, but he was ready. He had survived the Guardian, mastered the warship, and defeated an alien fleet using nothing but his human mind. And humanity was just getting started. The sun disappeared below the horizon, painting the Martian sky blood-red. Jax climbed back into the cockpit, warship humming beneath him. The desert stretched ahead, silent, waiting. And somewhere beyond the stars, the galaxy waited too, full of dangers, full of challenges, full of opportunities. And Jax Havorson, human, scavenger, survivor, was ready to meet them head-on.